and cry. Come here, come up here. It's like a human, man. I don't know. Maybe everybody thinks their dog is like a human.
Yeah, I think they are.
And she kisses me back. She lets me bite her.
Tina. Much
Yeah.
love to Tina, man. They do
She's got
respect
a
her.
good life living on this boat.
She has an extreme life with you.
Get to go everywhere.
Yeah,
Great life.
you're not you're a tough guy, So she's getting tougher with you, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, hey, hey.
So, guys and girls, hello there. We are the Finding Grateful podcast. Here is Jason, and there is Duane from
Hi,
Turkey.
everybody. Okay, I'm coming live from Gamushlik.
Wow,
It's
that
a little
accent, so
village.
sexy. All
Yeah,
right,
it's a
Mushlik. Mushlik, all right.
Gamushlik. It's a Turkish village on the west side. I think the last one we were here too. We got Athena laying down. Athena's sick today. She got pneumonia or something, or just bad cough, and so she's on antibiotics and can't leave the boat for a couple days. She's getting antsy, so she's over here bugging me. Normally we go out and we run on the beach, and I throw the stick, and she goes nuts. And if you look at my Instagram at Grateful Travel, I have videos of her going crazy on the beach. You dig back a bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm a sailor. I live on a boat full time. And Jason asked me, why sailing? And so I've been asked this quite a few times, like, why am I so obsessed with this mode? Because it's, kind of crazy. It's like people used to have to sail to get around the world. You don't have to anymore. Right? It's like, why would you dig through solid rock with a hand chisel? No, you get a power tool and go, whack. But we still sail. We choose to do this. When I was about 8, let's see, I was in 3rd grade, no, 5th grade. I think how old were you in 5th grade? About 10 years old. And it was a rainy day at our elementary school in Southern California. And the principal had a reel-to-reel movie. This was back in the day. This is 1972. And he put it on the projector for the whole. We were in the general purpose room, all the kids for lunch. We couldn't go out and play, so he played this movie in there, and he played it first forward and then backwards. It was funnier than hell, and it was all about surfing and sailing in Hawaii. And up until that point, I didn't know surfing. This was 1972. It's like, what is this? And so I remember running home, telling my mom and dad, I'm going to be a sailor. I'm going to be a surfer. That's what I'm going to do. So it started with that. I was just maniacal about wanting to do these things. And, I've heard a lot of people get motivated by a lot of things at some point in their life. And it just takes a little nudge at it, you're in a very impressionable age, that's something you want to do. So I sought it out all my life. Every chance I got, I was near a boat, I'd say, oh, I want to go on that boat. And then I made a friend, and his dad had a sailboat in San Diego. We'd go out on that. And then when I was like 14, I saved up $1,000 working around the house, whatever, for my dad. And I bought a Hobie Cat. It's a little catamaran, it's got a double pontoon surfboard, the sail on it. And I'd play with that thing in the beach until I was 18, and I surfed, and I loved it, and I just wanted and I'm also a pilot. I fly planes. I mean, a lot of sailors are pilots, and pilots are sailors, and they go together because really, a boat flies with the wind. It's a wing. You think of it as a sail, but really it's a wing. It's Bernoulli's principle, high pressure, low pressure. The boat's not being pushed, it's being sucked along because you can fly into the wind. And the fin down below is this foil. So from an engineering standpoint, there's a lot of optimization that can occur if you really understand the wind. The wind's, higher, the top of the sail and lower at the surface. So it could be a few knots higher because it's getting skin ground effect, and, how you put up a sail where, and you can adjust them, and all kinds of games you can play. And so if you really understand the subtleties of it, it gives you like this endless variety of ways to tweak the elements. 4 years ago, I mean, I've owned other boats. Before this, when I was like, after the divorce and I was living in San Francisco again, I bought a boat. I bought a Hunter, a 40-foot, 42-foot Hunter sailboat made in Florida. And it was very comfortable inside, but it sailed well. It was so fast, very light boat. And the way to make boats go faster is make them lighter or longer. But I live on a cruiser now. It's kind of fattened. It's long, but it's heavy. It's loaded up with stuff. We give up a half a knot or a knot just to be comfortable. But anyway, I lived on a boat then, and I live on a boat now. And I have pushed this thing all over the Mediterranean and out to the Canaries a couple times. One time, 2 years ago, I was surfing in the Canary Islands. In the Canary Islands, the waves break right on the volcanic lava. It's island surfing. Beautiful colors come out of it, and it's like, yeah, there's a spiritual connection to it. And I think it's also when I'm sailing, there's the colors of the sun and reflecting in the water, and to connect. I mean, I don't know how else you could do this. I mean, can you do it driving a car? Not really. I mean, you're on a paved road. Sailing, you're on the water, man. The water takes its own shape. There's no road. The wind, power boats, not a lot of respect for power boaters. No, they just kind of go, oh, you got a power boat. All right, you can park there. But
why?
Because you're just pushing through it. You're just putting more weight, more power, and more, there's not a lot of skill.
Yeah, you don't dance with the elements. You are not.
No, you don't dance with it. You're just pushing through it. It's a boat, okay. And boats have that personality, how they get there and how they look, and that's cool. I appreciate a beautiful, any beautiful thing that's put on the water. If you think, there's nothing in nature that mimics a boat, except for maybe a leaf that falls upside down. It's purely a man-made construct. So you're really wrestling with the elements, trying to be one with it, because when you get it really smooth, like the waves come in patterns, and you can point the boat so it massages its way over the waves, and you get upwind, and you go faster maybe, and it's this whole massaging of the whole thing. I wrote a story about one time when I was in Canaries and I bashed my head, and so I had a moment to sit and talk about this. And I talk about how I cracked my skull, and then it knocked me out cold. Ended up with 8 staples in the back of my head. And the guys helped me, and I went over, and I had to go to the little hospital, and they stapled me up. And then I was just sitting there kind of going, okay, that was the edge. I found the edge. Get knocked out in a remote place underwater. So when those events happen to me is when I do my best writing. So I'm just going to read a little piece of this, and maybe this is my interpretation of part of the water. Surf seasons in remote archipelagos is a pilgrimage for fully dedicated surfers. Scattered around the world in every different climate imaginable, Hawaii, the Maldives, Indonesia, Tahiti, Ireland, the Canaries, I've chased these sometimes elusive streams and pockets of stored energy, that we all call waves for 50 years. They're slung across vast seas from violent low pressure systems, hundreds and thousands of miles away. The energy beckons and draws us into the water. We want to be close and closer to feel the pull and the turmoil of these fleeting organisms as they expel their fury on ancient solidified volcanic lava. So that's how I felt about the waves that come. And I got a lot of responses from people. One of them was from a woman who I went to high school with, and I really didn't know her that well back then. I mean, I know her, but Diane Douglas is her name. And she wrote to me, she goes, "Hey, Duane, thank you for putting your experience into words. But the surfing, is it a sport, a spiritual practice, an art form?" He goes, "But whatever it is, it's fascinated me. But I'm too big of a chicken to wade into the water that big and fierce. I'm glad you were alive. So keep writing and writing." So I answered her. I said, "Dear Diane, spiritual, art form, sport?" I said, "I've never really tried to classify it. I just remember in fifth grade at Los Robles Elementary when school president, Mr. McDonald, played a surf reel at lunch on a rainy day. First forward, then in reverse. And I knew right then that that's what I wanted my future to be." So here's my little theory of water and surfing. And I'm just gonna extend this to sailing, because really you're kind of doing the same thing. Humans have tried to explain the allure of the sea and the waves for millennia. Duke Kamanamaku, he's the father of surfing. He was in the 1940 Olympics, I think, as the American swimmer, and he brought surfing into the mainstream. His quote is, "Out of the water, I am nothing." End quote. And I'm pretty sure that most surfers feel the same about waves. They're unseen energy, and it pulses through and haunts us all. I've never met a human who would doubt a spiritual presence is in each of us. And my board and my boat, they act as a sort of lightning rod for this ethereal light. And think of the ocean as a huge battery cell. Solar light energy from the sun stirs the atmosphere, creates storms, and converts the energy into waves. Our spiritual energy, our light, it wants to be part of that wave. We want to connect to that life energy form of the wave, become one for a moment and complete. It's how you feel when you're surfing. I think we have a natural vibrational, call it resonant frequency. And if you get it, and it's like, I don't know if you actually get it, but you hope so. I don't see people go and stare at a soccer field with nothing going on it. Field's empty, they're going to walk by. But you see surfers all the time just staring at the ocean. They'll just stare at it because they're looking for any little ripple that might come. What's the direction? What's the frequency? What's the amplitude? How's it shape? And how's it roll off when it gets to the end? And it's just so damn beautiful. The shape of boats, the shape of sails, it's like it's the wing of a bird, right? It's perfect. It's just a perfect natural thing, and we mimic that. It's a form of flying horizontally. I'm a pilot. I appreciate the engineering of it. So, yeah, and that's why people get sucked into it. But is it comfortable? Nope. Is it cheap? Nope. Is it easy? You can get there. I mean, if you throw a stick in the water around the Canary Islands, probably 6 months later, it'll end up in Brazil. Yeah, just the current, the tide, and the wind will just blow it there. Everything kind of just ends up in the Bahamas. Shit, big gyre. You put a boat on it with a sail, and you go 10 times as fast. So That's why I sail. That's the best I can tell you.
Wow.
How do you like that?
Yeah. I don't know. Interesting. I didn't know. Uh, so you started by a dude, a teacher,
Yeah,
actually presenting an idea,
yeah,
and then you put it in your mind.
yeah.
Okay.
You
So
manifest it. You
why
manifest.
did you manifest that idea? So what was it that cool? I mean, you kind of explained it, but
It was just
why?
beautiful. Well,
Yeah.
the other thing is it suggests freedom.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I had a woman here the other day talking to me about this, and it's interesting. Sailors are perceived as, you know, they're not committed. They can just sail away. But I would argue it's just the opposite. They are so committed to that ship. They're so in love with the boats that they're not flakes. In fact, they are having a relationship with that thing that you cannot have on land with a house. Because a house can sort of like decrep, you can just walk away. You're still on the land. But a boat, you got to stay. You're sitting on top of that water. You got to keep it tight. You got to take care of it, and it'll take care of you. It's a special relationship. You go out 25 miles from land, you don't see it anymore, pretty much. Clear days, you can see 40, 50 miles. But if you're at sea level and it's perfectly smooth, you can see about 1.7 miles. But you go away 100 miles, you don't see nothing. That's a freaky feeling. Done it plenty of times. And you get out there, look around, you go, holy fuck, I hope this thing doesn't sink. I mean, okay. I got a dinghy,
She can. Just kidding.
and I got a lifeboat. Okay, I got a lifeboat. I got an EPIRB, little boop. You flip the switch and the helicopters come. So yeah, I have options, but believe me, man, when you're out there, storms come through. You got to have such faith in your equipment. You better take good care of it, man, because it's happened to me several times.
Sounds like marriage advice, marriage counseling. Probably people should listen to this podcast because it reminds me actually of my grandfathers and grandmothers. They were never too happy about themselves, but yet they had to trust themselves very well when the crisis came, and they came often enough because they were poor. So it's kinda funny that
An
it kind
analogy
of
there, yeah.
relates. Yeah, it kind of relates. You know, the house is a modern, independent man and woman. But
You
you
know,
know,
you look at, John Steinbeck wrote a great book, The Voyage to the Sea of Cortez. Wrote it in 1935. And in chapter 2, he goes on an extended dissertation about a boat. And in there's a line where he says, a picture of a dog or a beautiful horse can give you a jolt of emotion that, see a majestic horse, you go, gives you this emotional response. But a boat, anybody who looks at a boat, even people who are scared of the sea, he says you get a fist of enthusiasm in your chest, like almost nothing else. And I mean, he's waxing poetic about it, but I hear it all the time. Maybe because I live on a boat, but people are enamored with the sea. Of course, I am, but I've never heard anybody say, "Nah, boat." It's nobody. Nobody would dare. Nobody could. You can't deny it. That there is an enthusiasm with the shape of these things. They're just beautiful, And I think that builders build them beautiful. It there are some ugly boats. They don't last long, but most boats are beautiful in a way, motor and sail. Little fishing boats. Look at the way the guys paint them. Why do they put the red stripes on them and a blue stripe? And they why? They're emotionally involved with this thing, and it's it relates to life. So there you go. That's the deal.
All right, cool.
All right.
So, okay, so that was the fourth episode. It was quick and nice of the Finding Grateful podcast. So, Duane, we have a little book. Do you have it by there, or I will edit it. I can edit it on on screen. All right. So, people, we do have until Duane comes. If you subscribe, go down below in the description. We have a link, and you can go there and subscribe to our email newsletter list. And if you do, you are going to have, we are going to gift you this beautiful little booklet with Duane's everything he constructed, the beautiful homes, and we're going to have a beautiful text there too. So we're going to say these things that you're going to appreciate it. Last words, Duane. Do you have anything to say before we close?
Yeah, keep the dry side up. And the wet side down.
All right.
Okay. All right, man. See you later.
See you later. Bye-bye. Ciao, everybody.